the instruction that the court.
That's what happened.
Not with everyone, but I did intend to.
Good for your client.
Almost like.
All right, so I think we are on page 90, lines 11 through 14. Okay.
That's law enforcement speaking, basically saying that how Shannon involved in everything. So when they hear his beef, it's the shooter.
Yeah.
Now, I will say on page 90, line 14, I should add this. I've reviewed all these statements and I've written notes where I feel that the transcript is insufficient. And my notes I have on 90, line 14, Underwood, Investigator Underwood says Shannon the shooter. And then Dennis says because, and then Underwood says Shannon the shooter again.
Okay.
So that's my objection, is to the police
All right.
labeling my client the shooter.
Well, the answer is good.
Underwood, Investigator Underwood says Shannon the shooter. And then Dennis says because, and then Underwood says Shannon the shooter again.
Okay.
Goo goo gaga, I'm a big baby.
Ugh, someone lost in fantasy. With DraftKings, you won't get locked into just one way to play.
So if I finish last, I don't have to wear a diaper?
Only if you want to. More fantasy games means more shots to win. We get
Which one are we targeting first?
The one on page 90.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get. So where we are, the line he's at right now is the line 25 on page 89.
Okay.
So if I may, I'll just.
Sure, that's fine. Yep.
Dang, Slug real bad. Just take care of him.
So Slug ain't go on the bus yet?
Nah.
Why not?
I told you he grew up, he even on that. When he got jail, he hadn't grew up, even really on that no more.
But you said Shannon. How Shannon get involved in everything? So when they hear his beat, it's almost like call Shannon. Because that's what they say because
Shannon the shooter.
Now, Shannon always be quiet.
right.
He did. Yeah.
Scared.
He should.
When it comes down to it, he's not scared.
Who shot Shannon?
Who shot Shannon? They say he smoked. I don't know. I was locked up.
All right.
Just jail. I read through jail.
I heard what I need.
Okay.
That's definitely a question. Shannon the shooter? And then the answer is no. He's quiet. So 17 is fine to be in.
Can the court remind me of the one before?
Yes, so that was with regard to item number 13. And y'all said it was around 27 minutes, 30 seconds. And I'm wondering, and we may need to play more of it than that, because I was asking who is the they that they're talking about. And I was just going to maybe listen a little bit in front of that. But then, so anyway, that was the issue there. So I don't know how much we're going to need to listen to find out who the they is. Or if we can find out who the they is. But your item number 13, which was on page 54, but I'm thinking we need to go find the beginning of whatever this portion of questioning is.
Do that.
There's a whole lot of days in here.
I think that it would be helpful for the court
To just have the whole listen from the beginning. That's fine. I'll do that. That'll be my homework.
Does the court have, or Ms. Percival, have a thumb drive? Because I can easily just copy it onto that thumb drive. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Probably not here, but definitely in my actual chambers. We've got one. Maybe Miss Bugs could bring us one down before we finish for the day. Okay. All right. So I think that answers our our number 25, which was
Are you suffering from sinusitis? Sinusitis?
No. Sinusitis.
definitely in my actual chambers. We've got one. Maybe Miss Bugs could bring us one down before we finish for the day. Okay. All right. So I think that answers our on our number 25, which was page 90. We were gonna, by agreement, strike 14, 15, and 16 because you can't hear what they're saying anyway. But leave in, not by agreement, leave in 17 and 18. All right, so okay. All right, that takes us to 92, line 11 through 94, line 22. Dennis, who's Dennis? It's Investigator Dennis. Okay. So, okay. So it's not the entirety of 92. That's just to give me context. Is it is it 93 line 21 where the real objection starts? 92 line 15. Oh, if y'all don't mind turning those speakers back around now so we don't have squelch.
So,
Matthews, bring around the corner. Bring around the corner.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's trying this way a little bit. That's good.
Okay.
So Investigator Dennis was present. He was working an extra job at Club Compound, and he's already testified, and he's provided live testimony about what he observed at Club Compound. Right here, and I think admittedly in the statement, he's just kind of going off his memory, and he's confused, and he's testifying about, not testifying, but he's talking to Quindarius about what he saw. Right. And we've already heard from him sworn in court testimony about what he saw that night. And this is, in several of the interviews, he goes into what he saw that night. And I just think it's inappropriate for the jury to get Investigator Dennis's version of events through unsworn out of court statements. And they're likely to confuse it with what he said on the stand.
Okay. So can you pinpoint for me on page 92, is there anything, well, I guess line 15, like
right. He's leading into it. He's talking about DK, who's Walter Murphy, and I believe it was Pokey. That's Kaikendo, and he's actually wrong about that. Fatty is Kaikendo. And so he's just kind of setting the stage of the people he saw. And then
starting at where? 15?
15.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he's talking about the gun that DK had a gun and he recovered the gun and how he pulled out his gun and Jeffrey's sister Max took offense to it and how the gun was put on Dolly. Dolly is Max. That's the same person. It's on Dolly's truck.
Yeah.
And so he's just reliving what he observed that day, and I just don't think it's appropriate for it to be played in an out-of-court statement like this.
What's the state's response?
Your Honor, with respect to the sections about Detective Dennis relaying and receiving input from Mr. Zachary, information about the Little Wayne bus shooting, as Mr. Sharp said, Detective Dennis was there that night, and as he relayed what he saw, Mr. Zachary's reactions are the more important thing. Obviously, the jury has heard Detective Dennis on the stand, and particularly at line 93.
On which page? Page 93, line
15 through 17, for instance, where Detective Dennis says, but DK had a gun. I recovered a gun from DK that night. And Zachary says, yeah, I saw that. So Detective Dennis's words impact on Zachary and his response.
Line.
Line 15 through 17, for instance, where Detective Dennis says, but DK had a gun. I recovered a gun from DK that night. And Zachary says, yeah, I saw that. So Detective Dennis's words impact on Zachary and his responses to them are the more important thing than us trying to have him, as Mr. Shar said, testify. That's not what we're trying to do. Now, there are parts of these that we don't have a problem, consenting to.
All right, well, tell me what those parts are.
Well, let me.
Or the opposite. Tell me what parts you really maintain you want / need / believe you're entitled to get in.
So starting with taking out, I don't mind page 92, lines 11 through 25.
Okay. Well, so we'll redact that by agreement.
And I'm sorry, I missed what the court said.
I said we'll redact that by agreement.
Page 93. Lines 1 and 2.
Okay.
We would object to page 93, lines 3 through 9.
Okay, so that you believe should be in.
Yes.
All right. And
that's because as Investigator Dennis is talking about cooking dog fatty and DK being like this, Mr. Zachary is making his assertions about who among them was actually there.
so he's actually showing I've got knowledge of this. And okay.
That's our position.
All right. Any response on 3 through 9 of 93, Mr. Sharp?
No, I'm
All
fine with
right.
that.
So that is then in by agreement, essentially. All right.
As we go on further down,
And then
I have no objection to 19 through 23 coming out, where Investigator Dennis is talking about cooking dogs, not cooking dogs, but DK's gun having been taken.
right. Okay. All right. And so up above then, where he's saying DK had a gun, I recovered a gun. Yeah, I saw that. Is he literally mean, yeah, I saw that on the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like that could come in. All right.
So lines 24
Mm-hmm.
and 25 on 93 lead into page 94, lines 1 and 2.
Okay.
We would object to that coming out.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like that's still the firsthand knowledge.
We have no objection to page 94, lines 3 through 6 coming out.
Okay. 3 through 6.
Actually,
3 through 7.
well,
Or
yeah, 3 through 7. That's fine.
Okay.
Look, 'cause line 8 through 10. In, we would object to that coming out.
Okay.
We would object to line 11 through 18 coming out. We don't, actually, we would object to line 19 through 25 coming out as well. Specifically, word only that Detective Dennis said line 18 coming out. We don't, actually, we would object to line 19 through 25 coming out as well. Specifically, word only that Detective Dennis said lines 19 through 22,
Right.
But then Mr. Zachary gives.
Is sort of agreeing and yeah, okay. All right. Any further argument on basically like lines 8 through 25, Mr. Shart?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I'm going to permit that in.
And so
is everybody clear on what's out and in, or do you want me to? Good.
I'm clear.
All right.
So the next section, Your Honor, is kind of picks up right where we are. And I flagged this because it was unclear to me at the time whether Mr. Zachary was claiming that he was there. But I am satisfied that he is claiming that he was at the compound, but I think we need to review it with the knowledge of where he was at the compound and where he wasn't.
Okay.
What is based on firsthand knowledge versus what is speculation.
Can you speak to that, Ms. Love?
Which part are we talking about?
I mean, essentially, like through the 94 line 24, I guess, through 96 line 14.
So my first issue is on 94. He says, yeah, she swapped cars with them. With who? DK and Shannon. Okay. If he saw that, that's fine. You know, if he, of course, if the foundation is laid to ever play this game.
Right.
But then after he says DK and Shannon, investigator Dennis says are shooters, and Quindarius Zachary says yeah. He wasn't present for the shooting.
Okay.
It's going back to he has no firsthand knowledge to affirm investigator Dennis's theory. So I would have a problem with lines 1 and 2. And then I have a problem with investigator Dennis, who wasn't present, saying Pee-wee in the white Camaro was just a driver. He doesn't know that. So I'm going to start out 95, 1 through 4.
Okay. So I think essentially that one is, okay, this is the law enforcement theory at this time, but
So we're starting on
95 lines 1 through 4. Or, yeah.
At this time, Your Honor, well, I'll put it this way for open to reserve the right. If I've asked that the court allow, if we are able to establish that foundation, then I'd ask that the court not exclude it.
Okay. And that foundation being the foundation that he actually does have.
Personal knowledge of it.
Okay.
Or some other.
Okay. Or, okay. Yeah. So that one is, I guess, a TBD.
And Your Honor, I want to also say, so with respect to Mr. Zachary, he has, and the reason we have some TBDs by some of this is that he has not been the most cooperative person. And I would leave it.
Okay. All right. So we'll just see on that. I understand the objection. I understand that it can't actually quite be answered yet. There's a foundational issue. We'll just have to see. Okay. So then we've got, I guess, what? 6 through 14.
I don't have a problem with lines 6 through 8. But then again, he starts theorizing about who's a shooter and who's not. And he says Troop wasn't no shooter. He was there though. I think he was following them too.
I don't have an objection to, is that 9 through 13?
No.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Okay.
And then I have a problem with 14 through 22. 14 through 25, really.
And is that same basis, like, how does he know this?
Correct.
Okay. Is that also by necessity TBD based on your frustration with your witness? Okay.
And
Well-
that leads into 96 as well. 96.
Well, I would say 24 and 25, 95 lines 24 and 25 to 96 is really 96 line 14 is all speculation about why Jimmy Winfrey pled guilty. I don't think that's TBD. I think
Okay.
that would be
All right. So hang on. We've got, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just not up with y'all. So 95, 14 through 23 is TBD. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
And then when we start on 24, line 24 and going on. Okay. This. Yeah. I mean, so the objection is on page 96, what, lines?
I don't have an objection to 96.
95 line 24 to 96 line 14.
I don't have an objection to
Okay, out by agreement. Okay, so are we now at number 29?
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So, Your Honor, the context of this is there's a gentleman named Rico Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Rico Rich or Rico Rich? Rico Rich. And he ran or owned a studio on Metropolitan that allegedly was also used at times by Mr. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, this studio was raided, and marijuana was located at the studio, and I think Rico Rich was charged with it. It was his studio, my understanding. July 15, 2015 is when that raid occurred, and it has nothing to do with this case. And so they're just talking about Rico Rich being upset because his perception that the attention drawn by the gentleman in court led to the raid, and it's just about something that has nothing to do with this case.
All right.
And Judge, if I can just add to Mr. Sharp's
All right.
position, the state, we've actually addressed this previously. The state agreed that this would not come in.
Okay. Well, I will find out what Ms. Love says about that, but I think that maybe Ms. Love hasn't had as much of a chance to study this in detail as she would have liked and as I would have liked. And so, Ms. Love, is that correct that y'all had already agreed that this part needed to come out?
And this part, what meaning?
99, line 18 through kind of, I guess, what, maybe all of 100? 100, line 10.
Just 1 second. Let me consult. So I don't have an objection.
Okay.
Page 99, lines 18 through 23. And I don't have an objection with that.
Okay.
It continues on to page 100.
Yeah, go on to the next page through about line 10. It seems to be the same topic.
Pretty owl. I'm so
So we don't have any.
Frankly, 14, I think, or 15. Right? I mean, isn't that all the same?
15.
Okay.
Right.
All right. And so that would also encompass 99 line 24, which I think we accidentally left out of there. So, all right, by agreement all the way through 100 line 15.
So that would be 99 lines 18 through 24, all the way into 100 up to line 15.
Right. All right.
Now, Your Honor, if I could go off the list for a second, I believe
Sure.
one of my co-counsel has a objection to page 100, line 20 to 101, line 5. It talks about Jeffrey's family, how he likes to be in the hood, and he likes people that are going to be right there with him, same people he grew up with. And then Investigator Dennis says, right, that makes you guilty by association. And that's improper. And then they talk about Mr. Bennett's aunt being shot.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, the state has no objection to page 100, lines 24 through 25, but we would ask the court to listen. I think I have a different take on lines 20 through 23 than Mr. Sharp. I don't think he's talking about Mr. Williams' family so much.
He's saying, though, I'm saying, though, Thug is family. He likes to, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I can listen to it. Do you want me to listen to it right now?
Regardless, it says he's hanging out with the same people he grew up with, and then Investigator Dennis improperly.
Oh, yeah, no. She
Yes.
says she's fine with 24 and 25 coming out.
Oh, okay. And then that continues on to 1 through 4.
I think 1 through 4 can come out. We don't really need, that is not
I agree.
additive to the issues that we're on trial for.
We have to-
Okay. Huh? Let's just, yeah, you agreed, so. All right, so then, so 100 line 24 through 101 line 4 are out by agreement.
And then at 101.9, they start asking Mr. Zachary how he would feel if his mother got shot while she was
Okay.
sick in bed, and all of those things, and I don't think that's appropriate either.
So, Judge, based on the court's ruling regarding 1 through 4 up through 11 would be okay?
Yeah, all right, well, you agreed with it.
I
All right, so all the way through 101 line 11. Thank you.
I mean, it continues beyond 11.
Okay.
It continues.
Yeah.
But Judge,
Yeah.
with respect to the ones after 11, Mr. Zachary is saying his expressions, I believe, are relevant. I don't think that is the same
All right.
as 1 through 11.
And when you say his expressions, then you mean like facial expressions when
No,
he's
no.
talking, or what do you mean?
What he expresses, they
Oh.
gift gang just shot up my cousin's house. I'm mad, and I don't disagree with respect to
Yeah, I think it goes.
up to line 20. I don't mind all of that up to line
Okay, so now we're to, 101 line 20 out by agreement.
Judge,
Yes.
if I may, the conversation continues on. It's just well beyond 101. I don't think reference to that incident ends until we get to page 102.
So maybe through line 8
I was thinking 18.
or 19.
Yes.
Okay.
The joys of America's open road. It's right here on the main streets and two-lane back road.
So maybe through line 8
I was thinking 18.
or 19.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, essentially they're saying bad things happen. How would that make you feel? And he's not saying anything other than maybe how he would feel, but that's, you can feel whatever way.
Right.
Aren't these kind of hypotheticals?
Yes.
All right. So through 102 line 19 out by agreement.
Now, the next section.
So the next objection, okay, so that's carried us through 30 and 31 then. Okay, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're now on item number 32, which starts on page 104, line 3, and goes to the next page, line 3.
And this is involving the Donovan Thomas case. And
Yeah.
I will say that in the other statement, Mr. Zachary asserts that Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Kendrick made some sort of statements against their interest
Okay.
as to who was in the car. But he never asserts that they told him about these details. And he's never claimed that he was there on Cleveland Avenue when he talks. Here he's talking about a gentleman named Kelvin Treadwell, also known as O.G. Bentley, basically taking the guns and taking the car and disposing of those things. He never claims to have been there, and I don't think anyone's claimed he was there. He claims he was at a kid's party, and I think the state has accepted that. And he's never said that he got that information from Mr. Stillwell or Mr. Kendricks, and I don't know where he's claiming he got this information from, but until that is established, I don't believe that it's admissible, even as a prior inconsistent statement, hypothetically.
So, Judge, what Mr. Zachary said in his prior statement is that he got that information from two of the defendants on trial now, following the shooting at one point the night of at Mr. Williams' condo, and I believe the next one on the way to Miami. My memory may be a little bit fuzzy on that, but because he corrects one of the detectives when they're saying, so both of them told you at the condo. And he says, no. One told me at the condo, the other told me on the way to Miami.
Okay.
So our argument is that his recitation of what happened would have come from, he wasn't there, we've never said he was, would have come from the same place that he was made privy to the statements that we caught Nut down at, which was at the condo, on their way to Miami, because they were together. And by they, I mean various members of YSL. They didn't all go in one car together down there, but they traveled to Miami in the days after the murder. So
okay, but this is about Bentley's potential involvement in getting rid of the guns? Is that right?
So O.G. Bentley is alleged to have, yes, gotten rid of the guns after the murder.
Okay.
And our argument would be that Mr. Zachary would not have, he's not the only one that says that. They wouldn't, this collective knowledge wouldn't exist but for his involvement in the gang itself. So this is another spot where I would say, where I would object to it coming out. But of course, I'm going to follow whatever ruling the court makes.
All right.
And I just want to be clear. I actually agree with Ms. Love's recitation of facts to the extent that he said that he got certain information from those individuals, but it's not this information.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like, I mean, he could legitimately have gotten the information about two other people saying they're involved, and that's one thing, and that's not what this is about. This is about what was O.G. Bentley's involvement, and did he, get and hide guns? And literally, even on 104, like towards the bottom, and they're asking about, they gave him the guns. He's like, that's what I hear. He doesn't even seem to be saying, hey, I know this from one of my in-gang sources. He's just like, oh, I don't know.
In the 2015 interview, a little bit more.
What was O.G. Bentley's involvement, and did he, get and hide guns? And literally, even on 104, like towards the bottom, and they're asking about, they gave him the guns. He's like, that's what I hear. He doesn't even seem to be saying, hey, I know this from one of my in-gang sources. He's just like, oh, I don't know.
In the 2015 interview, a little bit more detailed and a little bit more explicit. He references it. So at the very least, I think it.
All right. So how about if you can point me specifically to where in the 2015 thing it shows that he actually has the legit knowledge of this, then I'll reconsider it.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just going to put, contingent on.
Yes.
And this would be
all basically 104 line, 3 through 105 line 3? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
104.3 to 105.3.
All right. So moving on to item number 33, which is a little portion of page 105.
So the state has no objection to 11 through 14 coming out.
All right. All right. So that takes us to page 107. Our first.
I'm gonna withdraw that one.
34.
Yes.
Okay. And how about 35? We're still gonna sort out.
35?
Yes. Item number 35, which is 107 line 23 through 108 line 1.
I didn't remember talking about that one.
Well, it's in your list.
No, you said we're still gonna.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, yes.
So that's what we're moving to next, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
I thought
like,
you were
wait a
saying
minute.
you had already discussed it. I got it.
No. Okay. All right. 107 line 23.
Just a random discussion about a fight in a club that Mr. Kendricks allegedly got into with a man named Lil Tony.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with this case?
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shard. I'm asking the state now.
So actually, Judge, going back to 106.
Okay.
So 106 just gives sort of context of the time frame, but from 1 to page 107, line 1, when Dennis is asking.
Right. Is this about the time the beef's kicking off? Okay. Well, they don't have an objection to that.
So So it's going back to the gambling house shooting, and they thought the quote unquote the mob did it, but then we find out that apparently Kelvin Watts pillow talk with a young lady led to it being revealed that Kelvin Watts did it. And essentially they're asking, why did you think the mob did it? Why did you mistakenly think the mob did it? Assume. And they're saying, oh, because Mr. Kendrick beat up one of them named Lil Tony.
Okay.
And so I don't know why.
Okay.
And this is all around as Detective Dennis said, this goes back around, this is all around the time that this
right. So as I understand the objection, it is to, well, it may be a little further up than line 23, right?
It really starts on 14. Why did you think the mob was?
All right. So starting at 107, line 14 through 108, line 1.
So when Detective Dennis asks Mr. Zachary, why did you think the shooting was taking place, and Mr. Zachary is telling Detective Dennis, yes, he might be speculating about why they did a rival party did what they did, but he's also stating that Diamante Kendrick had just beat up one of them.
But this isn't, I'm sorry, just for my clarification, this isn't one of the IF people. This is some other group, right?
Where it says why y'all thought Damara and then
Phonetic or something.
Right there on line 14.
Right.
If you listen to it, it says why y'all thought the mob was shooting, not Damara.
The mob?
The mob.
Okay.
And that's the gang that they assumed.
Okay. All right. So why do we need this? What is your position as to why this would be admissible? Line, 14 through the next page, line 1. Hey man, I mean, we thought for a while it was this other group because of this other beef that had gone down.
So as it relates to 14 through 17, we would stipulate to that. But line 18 where Detective Dennis says, y'all
Uh-huh.
had beef all over the place. Y'all being his acknowledgement as he was
Okay.
to Zachary of them as a group.
Okay. And Zachary at 21 says, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then 18 through 21 seems like that legitimately could come in. And then that brings us then to 22 through the next page, line 1, about, okay, here are the details on this mistaken beef again. So that out, and then just 18 through 21 in. Because it seems like 20, you're okay with that?
So I don't have a problem with, you're saying 23?
22, yeah. Well, actually through the next one line on the next page.
Correct.
Okay, so thank you. Okay.
Are we at 109:23 now?
Yes.
Can we go through the exact?
Yes, so on the ones that I just said, okay, so if we go back to page 107, 1 through 13 are in without any objection. 14 through 17 are out by agreement. 18 through 21 are in over objection. No, was there an objection to that, Mr. Sharp? 18 through 21?
No.
Okay, are in because there's no dispute about it. And then 22 through 108, line 1 are out by agreement. All right.
And then we're moving to line 23.
Yes.
I have no objection to 23. I have no objection to 23 through 25 on 109. And 1 through 13 on page 110.
Okay. All right, which I guess means that if there is objection to 110 lines 14 through 19, is there?
Yes, because
Wait, so y'all want that out?
no, we won't.
Yeah, so I'm asking the defense.
Well, if 14 through 19 is played, there's going to be no context to it at all. Because it starts with, they've been shooting at each other for how many damn months? And no one's even going to know. The last time we talked, they were talking about
Right, somebody
Nut
else.
and Greedy and
Okay.
Kel being half brothers. And
Right. So,
I mean, honestly, I'd be okay with. I've identified this as hearsay. I don't have any problem with it coming in, to be honest with you. But
okay.
you know, if the state needs to play 14 through 19, I just say play the whole thing and
Okay.
give context.
All right. So then that actually starts with 109, line 23, or no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So basically they're withdrawing their objection to that. Page 111, lines 7 through 9. Okay. What does the state say as to that?
That Mr. Zachary's response, no, Thug just stopped messing with Woody. And the subsequent lines are important evidence in this case. Obviously, Woody is Mr. Copeland. He's the one on the stand right now. I can't.
Yeah. No, and he doesn't object to line 10 and 11 and 12. He objects to 7 through 9.
7 through 9 is necessary because they cause the response. That is line 10 through further down. And it is necessary, it is Mr. Zachary's reaction and response to Detective Dennis's question.
It's not a question, though.
Between.
Yeah, it is a question. I mean, it might not have a question mark at the end of it.
Says,
I mean,
word I got is Shannon started putting in more work than Woody. That is a declarative statement, and it gives the impression that other witnesses have told Investigator Dennis that, and that I've never heard someone tell Investigator Dennis that, and even if they had, that needs to be come from the stand.
He starts out with how did Shannon.
Yeah. So the how did Shannon part's really not a problem. I mean, could you redact out after the dash? How did Shannon? And I know we then don't have the word Woody in there, but Mr. Zachary provides the word Woody. No, Thug just stopped messing with Woody.
Why don't we just start with line 9, just with why Thug start pushing Woody in?
That works. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
One 13 line 23, 114 line 3. So do y'all, before we dive into the substance of this, we're not gonna unfortunately get through the entirety of this one statement today, so we can look forward to doing more of this tomorrow. But there are how many? Two other statements? Okay.
I can provide all of them to the court.
Okay. Here's the thing is, I mean, some of this I am having to make rulings on, but a lot of it, it's like, it might be, and I'm not saying it's the first time you're looking at it, but it's the first time you're looking at it for the purpose of trying to think about whether you're okay with redactions. And that's not really the best use of court time, by which I mean time that we are all here between 9 and 5 in court. So can you endeavor, and I know this is a lot, but y'all should have done a whole lot of this before now. So can we sort of maybe by the time we all reconvene tomorrow have a whole lot more of this sorted out so that y'all can hone in on the things that I need to make an evidentiary ruling on?
I have no problem with that. I know
Thank you.
Mr. Sharp was endeavoring to give us another.
He's got, this list is great because I just need, okay. I need the responses to winnowed. All right, great.
Okay, he gave it to us from one of the other interviews. We need the last one. There's 3 of them.
Okay, well, do you have that one ready yet? Mr. Shart is ahead of y'all on these interviews, so maybe while y'all catch up through the rest of these two, he can be finishing the third one, if he doesn't have it yet.
I'm trying to remember. I'll talk to the state afterwards. I want to make sure I'm on the same page with them about the 3 different statements.
Okay. So I'm sort of thinking I don't want to do any more of this. How about that? Because y'all can maybe do some things to make it all easier. So I will take a look at the beginning of this video. Y'all, the state, are going to go through what you have so far, which is the rest of this statement, potential redactions, and then whatever the second statement, not in time, but you know what I mean, potential redactions, and have it crystallized more for tomorrow. And tomorrow we also, I think, can't remember what I told you to turn in by tomorrow, but what was it?
Your Honor, we do the oath report exhibit.
Yes.
And I have a very nerve-wracked and nervous person working on that. They're asking, what if we don't have everything?
I'm going to throw them in jail. I am kidding. I understand this is a monumental task, which again should have been done before now, but given that it wasn't, we're doing the best we can. If they do the best they can, it's not what we're going to be dealing with, but it's not for me anyway. It's for the defense. So to the extent they have whatever they have tomorrow, turn it over, and then the rest of it by Friday. How about that? That seems reasonable. All right. What else?
And also, the court asked us at the beginning of the week to have the next.
Yes, the next tranche. Yes.
Yes. So
where are we on that?
we count even that tomorrow. That is the end of the beginning of the week, but I don't know. So we're together.
You're okay. All right. I'll check in with y'all again on that one. Okay. Mr. Harvey is going to produce a potential 105 limiting instruction within the next couple of days before Friday for me to consider.
Will the court give the state an opportunity to?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but we got to have something to at least start with. Oh, y'all are also all supposed to be thinking about what it is that we tell the jury about why we're starting over with Mr. Copeland, which may not, necessarily need to be a whole lot of detail, but we are going to be starting over with him. So it's going to be a disregard everything you heard so far, and then we either hear from him again or we don't. I don't know. We'll find out depending on how he wakes up that morning. But I'm going to have, that'll be, it's going to be a strike everything you heard, and then we'll see what happens next, But any kind of suggested instruction as to that as well, since we're starting over on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about trying to offer it up and work it out now?
And no, I think, didn't some people have objection to any of that? Right? I mean, hey, if y'all want to, super, that's easier. But the gist I was getting earlier today was that there were some defendants who objected to that, and that it might be just cleaner to just start entirely over. And frankly, if he ends up, it depends whether he ends up testifying or not. So, I mean, yeah, I'm happy with if he ends up testifying and y'all are like, yeah, we're going to use this day, whatever, all of it, whatever. I don't care. But, that's going to have to be because y'all agreed to it.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I thought the people charged here position was, and I think the state's position was just to include the 7th, which really was not anything, and then the 10th, which is Monday, the 12th, which is Tuesday, and part of the 11th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, part of the 12th, but nothing thereafter, not strike everything. There was a lot of exculpatory information on the 10th, 11th.
Here's the deal, though. And if he ends up testifying, and y'all want to say those 3 days, great. But if he ends up, since what I am trying to do is sort of circumvent the whole issue of potential coercion and give him an opportunity fully and correctly informed to make a decision about whether to testify, then if he says, no, I don't want to, then that means none of his testimony should come in unless everybody wants to agree to it, which would be kind of, an odd scenario.
If we don't get to cross-examine Mr. Coburn, we would like to strike all of his testimony under that circumstance.
Right? Yeah, right. So, and then, if y'all want to try to call him as your witness, if anybody's calling a witness, and try that. I don't know. If you want exculpatory parts of it, but then that, of course, comes with risks. So it just, a lot of this is up in the air depending upon, I think if he says, now that I'm fully informed, which I am not saying that any of his decision before was because of any incorrect information. I just think
this is the number 0. It's the number of bills Congresswoman Cori Bush has passed into law. 0. None. Not even one. 187. That's the number of votes Cori Bush has missed. More than almost any.
So y'all be thinking about that.
Did Your Honor get the thumbs up?
Yes. Magically. All right. Anything else before we break for the day?
Not
early, because I'm going to go do some work on it, not in court.
Just for your edification, we'll file a written motion. The state yesterday gave us a Dropbox link, and it includes additional telephone numbers that I was unaware of.
Okay.
Where an expert, he's already been qualified. His name is Agent Bernie, Berni, from the FBI, has done now an analysis of historical cell site location data, and I'm objecting to that very late, I believe, notice. And then the state has a couple other, they changed charts. I personally don't have a problem with that, but I need to study them. But the new reports and data and a new phone number, I am not agreeable to.
Okay, an entirely new phone number. Tell me some more, Miss Love.
Yes. So the new phone number there was another person in the vehicle during one of the murders in this case that investigators were still investigating during the time we began this trial. They were trying to hash out whether or not this particular person was even in the car, if you will, with some of the alleged parties to the crime.
Okay.
Since that time, during the course of this trial, the investigators with the Atlanta Police Department that were doing their deep dives into forensic data determined that this person, I don't think that person has been arrested, but this person was also in the car with the co-conspirators during this particular murder. We got it before now, but we got it after the trial began, like between, I think, January and now. And I think it was inadvertent, that had not been disclosed.
All right, can I stop you and get some clarification?
Yes.
When you say we got it, do you mean we got this report from this agent, or we got information that there might have been yet another person in the car and that person had XYZ phone number and that was going to be investigated?
So those are two separate things. The report from the investigator, from Detective Burney, involved plotting.
Sure, I understand what that means. When did y'all get that?
We recently asked him to plot those two, because the green store is a thing that came up recently during trial, and the other location was. So we have two understandings of what the court is asking. So we're not talking about the plotting of those cell phone numbers. We're just talking about the Boyer cell phone records. We're just talking about the cell phone records.
We're talking, I don't know what we're talking about. That's what I'm trying to pin down. So
there was.
Hang on, yes.
We were given cell phone records linked to a last name Boyer.
Boyd, B-O-Y-D?
B-O-Y-E-R.
Boyer, okay.
On Monday, on yesterday?
Okay.
Yesterday. And so that is the late disclosure that we're speaking of.
Okay.
And they were charted as well. Which
Okay. Nobody really, I'm sorry. Do y'all care? Is the objection to the charting, or?
It leads me to believe that they've had them for a while if they've plotted them.
All right. So the plotting of the cell site location information report done by Agent Burney, that's of this Boyer phone number?
Yes.
Okay. And y'all just recently asked for that based on some testimony about something?
No, that's a different thing. I literally sat there and conflated two different.
Okay. All right. So then let's back up to the original issue. In fact, that was a reasonable lead.
Your Honor, I'd like to check with another team member.
Okay.
Because I don't know the answer.
Can you give me an idea? Let me clarify. You said about something that it was sometime between January and May, and that might have been that you got something. What was that about?
So the conversation that I had with the team member most recently, like 2 days ago, was that I have to turn over these phone records.
Right.
This person was someone that they believe might have been in the car.
Okay.
And they got phone records, and now we know that based on the phone records, this person was in the car.
Okay, so when did they ask for, we or they, not we, but y'all or they, ask for the phone records because they thought that might be?
I beg the court to allow me
All right, find that out. And then, do you know when y'all got the cell phone records?
When you said we, I thought you were talking about us. I don't know the answer at all for the Atlanta Police Department, but I can find out.
Okay, so unfortunately for you, we equals y'all equals, the state equals both the DA's office and the Atlanta Police Department. You know that. And I know sometimes there's a little lag in communication, but, I need to know, was it, if they were provided to the defense on Monday, you know, was it last week or was it 4 months ago?
Okay, I can find
No, because, okay. And what do these cell phone records reveal? That this person did appear to be also in the car?
Yes.
And
There's two cars.
okay, do you know which car? I mean, there are two cars that obviously one, well, not obviously, at least one contains at least one shooter, right? Is there any assertion that others contain shooters as well, or just people that are involved?
The state
Okay.
is alleging that there's a white car with my client and Mr. Garlington in
Right.
it, and then another car with Mr. Nichols and Mr. Farley in it. And now it sounds like they're saying that this Boyer phone, whoever owns this phone, was in one of those cars. And I'm inquiring what, I don't know anything
I'd like
about
to provide that information, if I can.
You don't know, you want to check and make sure on that. Okay.
Because it was not a part of the original. Yes.
Okay. How long has the defense known anything whatsoever about this person named Boyer?
Your Honor. Oh, except for this, I could tell you from my understanding of the discovery, there is zero information on Mr. Boyer except one mention in a jail call. That is it. That from my whole database, I have one mention. That is it. And I have no reports. So the police been investigating and found out that this person allegedly was involved in this killing. I still, to this day, have no reports on it. I've never interviewed him. I didn't open on him. He could be a great defense. I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is, I mean, you know, potentially significant information for the defense to know about.
I can't say that at the time we did openings that the police had it. I'd like to be able to say.
All right. All right. We'll find out. But there's been a long period of time between opening and now. 8 months to be.
That was 24. Okay.
7 or 8 months. So, yeah, we need a lot more information about this. I love how y'all save all of the like bombshells for late in the day, right before we're wrapping. Y'all like going, hey, guess what? So, okay. I mean, it is what it is. Okay. So we'll need to find that out and put that on the record and sort that out tomorrow. Okay. So exhibits, next 30 witnesses. And then you also, I believe, we're going to get by tomorrow, actual, like a list to the defense of here's what we think is a co-conspirator statement, right? Okay. So we'll be waiting anxiously for all of those. Anything else? As if that wasn't enough.
Your Honor, somebody I wrote down said that there are 3 Mr. Zachary statements. I have 2.
Okay. And I might have misspoken. Did I misspeak? Miss Love misspoke. Did Miss?
I might have put a date wrong, but I'm talking about 2015.
Introducing QT Pay, the easiest way to transform.
2017 and the proper. So, I'm sorry. I might have misspoken too.
Okay. So you think that maybe there only are 2, but you'll confirm that for us tomorrow? All right. And so if there are only 2, then, Mr. Shart, you've done all of the proposed redactions. Because you've done redactions to 2 full statements, right? Or proposed redactions.
I didn't quite finish the second one, but I don't believe that the state is going to be trying to use it. It's a discussion with ATF agents and.
All right, y'all were going to get together and sort that one out too. Okay. Sounds good.
And Judge, the board needs to finish the report. Just allow me to get this thing copied. Judge, I'm not going to keep you on the bench, so I will have some.
All right, that's fine. That'll work. Thank you. All right, see y'all at 9 tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll be 8:45 at it when we have the jury. Okay. All right, so we're adjourned.